Hi everybody, welcome back. Today I'm doing my September reading wrap up, talking about the books that I read in the month of September. So in total I started and finished 5 books for the month, so for me that's pretty good considering I haven't felt very well for a while. But yeah, started and finished 5 books. So the first book I read of September I read on my Kindle, and that was A Man Called Ove by Fredrick Backman, and it was my book club's pick for that month, and I started it on the 1st of September, finished it on the 3rd of September, and one of the best books I have ever read. One of the best books I've ever read. I knew nothing about it, getting into it, I didn't know what to expect, didn't know what it was about, but I don't think a book has ever made me laugh and made me cry in equal measure so much as this book. The Fault in Our Stars and A Monster Calls were two of the saddest books I'd read, but this is in a totally different league. This really did leave me speechless, and for like the last quarter of the book I couldn't actually really see much of what I was reading because I was crying so much. But I absolutely love this book, highly recommend this book to everybody. Any suggestions that pop up now about what books you would gift to people or anything like that, this is what I'll be suggesting. Gave it 5 stars, it was absolutely brilliant. Highly recommend. If you haven't read it yet, please do, you won't regret it, but don't get mad at me if you do read it because you will cry. So yeah, absolutely amazing. The next book again was on Kindle for another book group that I'm in as a group read, and it's called When the Lights Go Out by Mary Kubica, and it's a thriller. And I haven't read a thriller for quite a while, for quite a long time. I used to read them quite a lot and I used to really enjoy them, but for some reason I stopped. But it was like a breath of fresh air reading a thriller again, and it was really good straight away. I was engrossed, and it's set in present day and in the past, and there's two characters who it's about. Their stories like intertwine and interweave and all that kind of thing, and I was hooked. Both perspectives were good. The present day one is from a girl called Jessie's point of view, which was really interesting but also really hard to read about. Some of the stuff she's going through was really hard to read about, and I was really concerned for it and really nervous. And the previous, like the point of view in the past, is from a lady called Eden's point of view, and I loved reading from her point of view. She was such a hard character to like, but a really interesting, relatable character. The fact that her bad choices and her bad decisions and her mistakes just made her more human, and I could relate to that. It was really good, and there's as in a lot of thrillers, there was a big twist. Unfortunately, I wasn't a fan. I wasn't a fan of the twist. I could kind of see it coming. I was really hoping with everything that it wasn't going to be what I thought it was, if you know what I mean. But it did turn out to be that, which really did kind of, really kind of pissed me off a bit. I kind of felt cheated because I invested my time in it and was really engrossed in it, and then that happened. So I wasn't too overly fond of the ending, but I still really did enjoy it. I still really did enjoy reading it, and I gave it 4 stars out of 5. If it wasn't for the twist, or even if there was a twist, if it just didn't happen that way, I would have given it 5 stars. But because of the twist, it kind of, I was a bit angry, so it lowered my rating a little bit. But all in all, it was really good. I do highly recommend it. The third book again was on Kindle, and I'm terrible because I can't remember the author's name. I really can't remember the author's name, but it was absolutely brilliant. It was a ARC copy, an advanced reader copy of a book from NetGalley. I got selected to read and review a book on NetGalley called The Twisted Tree. If you haven't read it yet, or go on NetGalley, read it. It's really good. It's like a supernatural horror thriller kind of book, and it's kind of hard to explain what happens without spoiling it, because literally as soon as you start reading it, you know what's going to be happening. So I don't want to say too much about it. All I will say is there's a girl in it, and again, I'm terrible. I can't remember her name, but she suffers like an accident when she was a kid, or when she was younger, and she goes blind in one eye. And that's when all the supernatural stuff kind of starts to kick in, because she can't see through this eye, but in another sense, with things that start happening, that's how she sees things that are happening. So you kind of get where I'm going with it. She's blind in her one eye, but she's able to see other things that other people can't see that aren't there, kind of thing. So I'm not going to give too much away. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars as well. For an ARC copy, it was very well written, really well written. There was no spelling mistakes, no grammatical errors, nothing like that. Really well presented. The cover is absolutely beautiful, and I highly recommend it again. Perfect this time of year, like a full autumn kind of book. Perfect. So I highly recommend that. Please do check it out on NetGalley. I loved it. I read it again within like 2 days, I think. So really good. The fourth book is actually a physical book, and I read Frostblood by Elly. I've seen an author interview on Hayley's channel, Hayley and Bookland, interviewing Elly Blake, and she sold it to me basically. She obviously spoke about a book, she knows a lot about her books. She went into detail about it, and I was intrigued, so I bought this one. I got about halfway through and bought the second one, Fireblood, and I'm halfway through Fireblood, and again, I'm halfway through Fireblood, so I ordered the third one, Nightblood. So I really did like this. I'm not the biggest fan of fantasy, for this type of fantasy, but this flew. I have spoken on my channel before about not really liking the Throne of Glass series that much by Sarah J Maas. I didn't like the first book. In my opinion, this book for a first book is far better than Throne of Glass, and that might warrant me a few dislikes and things, and people might be a bit angry, but I prefer this. I thought this was better than Throne of Glass, and I love the main character Ruby. Ruby's a really good character to read about. Basically, in the land, it says in the world of ice, she will burn. So she's the only Fireblood known in existence in a world where it's ruled by Frostbloods, basically. So obviously there's magic and political intrigue. There's a love interest that's really interesting. Normally I'm not keen on a love interest, but I like the love interest in this book. There's action, like I said, there's fighting. There's all sorts of things in here. The main thing I like about this book, which I don't normally like very much, is the political intrigue, the political side of it, and the government and stuff. I like that. It's really interesting in this book, and I normally don't like that at all. But yeah, I really like this. Again, well, I gave this 4 stars. I'm really enjoying Fireblood at the moment. Fireblood's probably even better than this one. But yeah, I highly recommend this one. Elly Blake's a good author, a really good author. I like her writing. I don't see it very much. I don't see her book spoken about very much, or on social media or anything like that. But yeah, I really did like this. This is really good. And this book, oh, I love this book. This is the last book I read of the month. So I finished it like 2 days ago, I think. And it's called Drumroll Please by Jenn Bigelow. It's middle grade, and love this. I read this in a day. I finished this in a day. It's like 306 pages, and it's about a girl called Melly, who's a 13-year-old girl who's very shy, who's very much an introvert, and she is in music class one day in school and notices the drum kit. So she goes over to the drum kit, has a mess about with it, and hits it a few times, and realises that the feeling that it gives her and how open it makes her feel and how kind of brave and confident it makes her feel, she falls in love with it. So she takes up the drums. So her parents buy her own drum set and stuff, and her friend Olivia takes up the guitar, like the acoustic guitar and the bass guitar. So they decide to kind of form a little band between the two of them. But things change. Her friend Olivia wants to go to a camp called Camp Rockaway for 2 weeks and asks Melly to go with her. So they go to this camp. Beautiful setting, absolutely beautiful setting. Obviously from the cover, she's in a tent. Obviously the goal is at this camp they will hone their skills, be put together with 3 or 4 other people in their band and perform at the end of the 2 weeks, basically learn how to master their instruments. And I love this book, the setting of it, and the characters. Melly is such a lovely character to read about, and the fact is as well, she meets a girl called Adeline or Adeline, and they form a close friendship, and they form a bond, and they help each other through music. And Melly's parents, just before she leaves to go to the camp, they say they're getting divorced. So while she's at this camp, she's having to deal with this, and her and Olivia are kind of drifting apart and not as close, and she becomes friends with this Adeline, I think her name is, and tells her all about it. And obviously, because being 13-year-old girls get crushes on all these boys and things, and they're sat one night in camp talking about them, and all of her friends are talking about all these boys and all the people that have crushes on and whether they're going to get the first kiss and all that kind of thing. And all Melly is thinking about is Adeline. So she hasn't got a crush on any of the boys. She's got feelings for this other girl called Adeline. So she's having to deal with the fact that her parents are being divorced. She's at a place where she's not comfortable with. She's doing things out of her comfort zone. She's very nervous, very shy, developing feelings for this other girl. So it's diverse as well, obviously. So she's questioning her sexuality, questioning her choices, her musical ability, whether she's good enough, all that kind of thing. This book was absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And like I said, I read it in a day. That's the fastest I think I've ever read a book. Couldn't stop. Really beautiful story, really heartwarming and uplifting, even though some of the things that happen are quite sad and difficult for her to deal with. She reminded me so much of myself so much of myself when I was in school. Didn't have the best time in school. I was bullied and things, and didn't always fit in. I found a lot of things difficult, so I really could relate to Melly in this book. She was such a lovely character, so diverse from middle grade. From middle grade book, it really packs a punch. There's a load of really good messages in it. Yeah, just one of the most positive, uplifting books I've ever read. As soon as I finished it, I was so sad, but it left me feeling really happy. It's really heartwarming. So yeah, again, obviously, of course, I gave this 5 stars. Absolutely loved it. So yeah, it's been a really good reading month actually. Really good reading month. 5 books for me, like I said, is pretty good for me. Considering how I've been feeling, that's really good. I'm really pleased with that, and I've enjoyed every single one. Every single book I have enjoyed. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up so you don't miss any future videos. Subscribe. Actually, I messed that up. Please give it a thumbs up because I would really appreciate it. Subscribe so you don't miss any future videos. Finally said it right. And I will see you very soon with another one. Bye.